How do you raise money to start a business? We're going to answer that question in this video. Okay, let's rock. Let's talk about it. I know you're going, how do I get money to start my business? All my friends have got businesses, or this person started a business 5 years ago and they're doing great. I want to start a business, but I don't have the money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I got like $300 or $500 in my checking account. There's no way I can start a business. Okay, if this is you, listen up, because I've got some great ideas and things that I've done personally to start all my businesses. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I absolutely love business, and I own several different businesses. And I've had my first business since I was 16 years old. So listen up, I'm here to help. Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind about raising money, the very first thing that came to mind is work a second job. And that's what I did. I remember at the very beginning when I was starting, I was working at a grocery store and I was only paying me so much money. And then I said, well, maybe if I start mowing lawns, I can start making more money, and shoveling driveways in the winter and things like that. And I'm telling you, the difference between having a secondary income on top of your main income is huge. And so what you could do if you've got the discipline is you could set up a separate account, like a savings account or something like that. And every single penny, every dollar you make from that second job, you can just deposit into that account and say, that's my small business fund. That money is only going to be used to start my business. And then magically it'll grow. You'll just see it keep piling up because you're putting in $300 here and $500 here and $1,000 here, and you blink your eyes and a year passes and there's thousands of dollars in that account, right? And then depending on what type of business you're wanting to start, that's what's going to determine how much money you actually need to start your business. But you're asking me how to raise money. How do I raise money for the business? That's the first thing that comes to mind, is get a second job. I know it doesn't seem good, but I'm going to tell you something in business and in life if you want to get ahead. There's no shortcut. I mean, there's people that win the lottery and things like that, but there's no real shortcut. So don't try to take that shortcut. Don't try to find the get-rich-quick scheme, or there's got to be a quick way to make money. There really isn't. There's exceptions to every rule, but there truly isn't. So if you've got a mindset that's just constantly wanting to try to get rich quick and get money quick and accumulate wealth quick, get out of that. Getting wealthy, making money, starting a business, running a business, it's a long-term proposition. It's something you're signing up for years and decades. So it's okay to sacrifice 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5 years to build up enough money to get it so you can start your business. And that's ideal. That's what you call bootstrapping your business, right? You start it with your own money, with your own time, your own efforts and things like that. And then you don't answer to anybody. Because another way you can raise money is you can borrow it. So you can borrow it from friends and family. Let's say your parents have money and they're willing to loan it to you. You got a rich uncle, right? You got a rich aunt, somebody like that. They would loan you money. You got friends that would loan you money. Most of the time, if somebody's willing to loan you money, unless it's your direct family like your parents or something like that, they're going to want to cut. They're going to want a piece of your action, right? And so you're going to be giving up a lot long term. Once your business really becomes profitable and you're doing exceptionally well, you're going to be giving up so much money every single month to that person, when if you'd have just sacrificed in the beginning and saved that money up yourself, you wouldn't have to answer. You wouldn't have to pay those dividends and that interest or whatever agreement you set up to borrow that money. And that's what we do as humans a lot of times when we're desperate. They say desperate people do desperate things. So you're like, I can't wait any longer. I got to have my business right now. I'm not willing to wait. Okay, well, that's going to come at a price. So there's people out there. There's banks out there, depending on how good your credit is. That's another way. You could go to a bank. You can apply for an SBA loan. There's a lot of ways to borrow money. You might even have credit cards right now that are giving you low introductory rates or low interest rates for 12 months and things like that. And you're like, wow, I got like 5,000 on this card and 10,000 on this card. You're looking at all your credit cards. I say don't do it unless there's this opportunity cost that if you don't get into this business now, a bunch of other people are going to maybe jump in and you're going to miss out on like the big wave of profit, right? Kind of being an early adopter or something like that. That's different. We can talk about that in later videos because there's actually been a time that I've had to do that to not miss out. So I understand that. So let's recap. We talked about getting a second job. Definitely a good decision. And it doesn't have to be, when you say a second job, it could even be your main job, and you could just work overtime if your company allows you to work overtime. So whatever it is, just work more hours, get a second job, something like that. Borrow money. Again, I don't highly recommend that, but if you're going to borrow money, to borrow it from friends and family, go to a bank, go to government organizations like the SBA and things like that. Now, another one that a lot of people don't think about, depending on how old you are, or how many things you've accumulated in your life, you'd be surprised nowadays if you went on eBay or you did the old garage sale concept, which is now not really a garage sale. It's garage sales are becoming rarer and rarer, as time goes, because people just sit at home on their computer and list stuff on eBay and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and things like that. A lot of ways to raise money is just to sell stuff that you already have. You'd be shocked. You could raise quite a bit of money. And most people, if you've been alive for years, you've been in the workforce for years, you've probably got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And so if you take the time to just say, you know what, we bought that pinball machine down in my basement years ago and I don't use it. You go on eBay and the thing's worth $3,500. Wow, there's $3,000 right there, that you just came up with. You kind of forgot about it, because we tend to do that as we accumulate things and we buy random stuff. I mean, for a while, I used to collect Air Jordans. That was something and I still love Air Jordans. It's just that it got to a point where they had inflated so much in price that it didn't make sense for me to really keep them. And I had an opportunity to get into a business. So I sold them a ton of my Air Jordans for hundreds of dollars. And I paid like $130 or $150 a pair or something like that. And most of them I got on average $500, $600, $700 a pair, some of them even more, right? So I had tons of pairs of those. And I never thought about that as money, because it was something I loved and I collected. And you might have something similar. You might have a collection of comic books or something like that, that if you put in the time, you could actually raise a ton of money. So look and see what personal things you have, and that could be obviously another way. Basically, to recap, I want to say this. I want to kind of close this video in this. From my experience in all the businesses, do your absolute best. If you're going to start a business and you want to raise money, take your time a little bit more. As long as it's not an impending business, like I said earlier, where you're going to be the first one to market, take your time. If it's going to be a restaurant business, if it's going to be some kind of internet-based business, there's plenty of time. Customers are still going to be there. It's better to set your business up right from the beginning and have the proper funding than rush just to say you're in business. And that's a mistake a lot of people do, is they rush, they register their business, they get it going, they're underfunded, then they start getting scared. Oh my gosh, my business is already out of money. And when you play scared in business, everything in your business, it's like a domino effect, trickles down. So it comes out, your stress levels show. If you've got an employee or employees, they start seeing it. Maybe you slip and you're like, I don't know how we're going to make rent. Well, if your employees hear that, they might start looking for another job, thinking that they're going to get fired or laid off because the business won't be around and things like that. So I strongly recommend sitting down and writing down on a piece of paper every single thing that you feel is going to cost you money in that business, so you can really get a good gauge about how much money you need, and then add like 25% or add 50% to that number, because there's always going to be unforeseen expenses that come up when you're setting up a business. It happens every single time. So as an example, if you think your business is going to cost $50,000, I would write down $75,000 and raise $75,000. If you think your business is going to cost $100,000, maybe $125 or $150 needs to be the number that you budget for. And remember, everything comes in pieces. So you don't have to be like, gosh, I got to raise 50 grand or I got to raise 75 grand. That's so much money. It is, but it's not a ton of money when you're selling stuff slowly, you're putting it in a savings account, you're setting it aside. You'd be shocked, $300 here, $200 here, $700 here. It adds up, then all of a sudden you've got 10 grand, then you got 20 grand, and then you have your 50,000. And again, it might take you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to save that money. But at least you're going to be, when you decide to get into business, you're going to be proper funded, and you're going to be the king or the queen of your ship. You're not going to answer to anybody else. You're not going to have to answer to a bank and send them all kinds of financial statements and things like that. It's your money. It's your business. And it's the sweetest thing to do is to get into business with your own money. Okay, everybody, I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, please click that like button. I'm doing my best here to serve. So remember, if you've got any comments that you feel the viewers or any videos I could make, please comment below. And don't forget to click that subscribe button. I want to keep delivering videos to you. Remember, in life and in business, no matter how hard it gets, never give up, keep pushing, and be the hustler.